My name is Dr. Myrna Roberts, and I invented this museum from my dissertation. So I'm a behavioral scientist and a rhetorician, and my specialty is African American townships, and also when cultures come together. When two or more cultures come together, I like to look at how they intersect, whether they collide, whether they melt together, or what happens. And so, in so doing, I created this museum from African American all black township called Tatum, Oklahoma. And as you can see, I say here that our blood runs deep in the red earth of the Chickasaw Nation. And what that's about is that even though this is Indian territory, our blood runs very, very deep, because in the Chickasaw Nation, they sent their African American slaves to Indian territory well before they came themselves. So we came here in 1838. They didn't come here until about 1845. So we were here before them. And that's why I say our blood runs deep in Indian territory, and particularly the Chickasaw Nation. This is Mary Tatum, L.B. Tatum, and this figure up here is his older brother, Eldridge Doc Tatum. And these are the people who settled the town of Tatum. But they weren't here alone. They came here because of these two. Well, everybody, anytime there's a business deal, there's a whole lot of agendas. And make no mistake, this was about business as well as how a group of people would make it from slavery, reconstruction, and then into what we consider the promised land. Because that's what these black towns were considered, as a promised land for former slaves. So here we have Jake Wall, and his bride, Charlotte. Charlotte was born free in New Orleans and was kidnapped and sold into slavery to Jacob. And they had 15 children together and eventually were married. Jake is the only white man that I know of that's buried in Tatum Cemetery. So it was bringing his children to safety that he decided to hook up with Tatum, because he had all these children with his wife, who was of African descent. I don't want to say slave because she wasn't born a slave. So my question is, if I'm a queen and you kidnap me in the middle of the night and put chains on me and take me somewhere else, at what point do I stop being a queen? That's my question right there. So I don't like to refer to her as a slave. I refer to her as kidnapped. But nevertheless, she married him. But then there was a whole lot of years that went by. And so then there's a power dynamic. So love, I don't know. But they did have kids that he cared about. So all of his daughters, he's known for being very, very serious about his daughters having teaching degrees, so that even if you weren't a teacher, you could be entrepreneurial and go where you wanted to go. And that's how come you have such a long history of teachers coming out of Tatum, was because Jake Wall demanded that his daughters have teaching certificates, and his granddaughters. So that's a legacy directly from Jake. So he also demanded that his daughters marry men who were either tradesmen or professionals, or military men, which is a professional. So in so doing, all of his daughters, and we come over here, married men that made up the town of Tatum. So one daughter married a Buckner, one daughter married a Carter, two daughters married a Swindle, one daughter married a Hooks, one daughter married a Jones, a daughter married a Austin, a daughter married a Lee, a son married a Thrash, and these are the names that make up the families that established the town of Tatum, along with the Chickasaw freedmen who were here before the walls came. So I say it like this, so that people can understand, is that there were black settlements here before the Tatums and the walls came here. those people were like wearing leather and feathers. They came here, they practiced Native American ways. They were more kind of backwoodsmen. I'm not gonna call them poor just because they were backwoodsmen. I'm saying that they were wearing leather and things like that. So these people came in here, they was dressed up and they brought technology and they were very, very educated. So you can already see where it was set up a way for a clash between two people, state folk and IT being the people who were Indian Territory people. Well, what's phenomenal about this is that each one of the 50 all-black towns was set up in that way. Those state folk came, and there were already black people in that location when they came. But this is the story of Tatum, Mr. Wall, Charlotte Wall, hooking up with the Tatums. And that's how it all happened. And this here is Mr. Wall's obituary. This is how we know he died in Chandler visiting one of his sons, and it tells how he came back. The Masons of Tatum brought his body from Chandler, Oklahoma to Tatum, and that's how we know that he's buried in Tatum.